All right, what's up, everybody? Hey, it's Ryan, and this is What It Do. I am a serial founder that has gone from 0 to 10 million the hard way. And I'm here to give you the cheat codes to help you do it faster. I'm joined weekly by Jason, an expert in scaling businesses with people, technology, and process to 9 figures and beyond.
What it do, 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 what it do,
What It Do, Mr. Katz.
9 figures, baby. How many commas are in 9 figures? Let me think about that. I think there's 3 commas in there. Should be.
Is it? Is it? Because there's 3.
Oh, no,
one,
2
three,
commas. We sold for 3 commas.
3 commas.
We sold for 3 commas, but revenue was 2 commas.
It's a lot of commas.
Comma.
You know what they say, more comma, more drama.
That's right, baby. There was a lot of drama in those commas. That's for damn sure.
Nice. Let's dive right in, man. I'm gonna start with the Buffalo. So I finally did something. I might have to repeal my Colorado card. I traded in the pickup. and I got a Nissan Aria. And this thing is a freaking spaceship. I can't believe how cool this car is. I'm trying not to think too hard about the F-150 I traded in because I love that car so much. But it felt a little bit ridiculous, hauling my yoga bag to and from yoga. It's a lot of truck. And I was like, you know what? Let's be responsible here. Let's do the smart thing. So I traded it in, got a Nissan Aria, dude. It is insane. Auto drive, auto park. Like it's unbelievable.
Is it an electric car or what?
Yeah, it's totally electric. Super. It was like $200 a month for a lease. So I'm gonna give it a shot and see what that's like for a couple of years. I've been driving pickups
buddy.
for like 15 years, so it's my first time back in a car. So we'll see how it goes. That's my Buffalo.
Congratulations, and you're decoloradizing yourself, and I'm getting more Colorado. I got the beard growing out. I got the flannel. I mean, this is in celebration of my return to the great state of Colorado and the Rocky Mountains.
The triumphant return. I'll be waiting for you with a golden retriever and a fly rod. You know what I'm saying?
I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't wait. Can't wait for that day, man.
Yeah, how about you, man? We got a rose, thorn, or buffalo. What do you want to start with today?
I'm rosing hard. So I finalized my fractional executive model for our business, and we're going to market, baby. We've dialed in kind of who we're talking to and the things that we want to be saying, and it's been I think one of the big wins was we took a beat and we did a competitive analysis, and we were like, who's actually doing this, and let's just see what they're doing and how they're positioning themselves and the services they're providing, and that was extremely helpful. So anyone that's listening, it's really important to, when you're thinking about launching a concept, whether it's a product or a business, to not get over your skis with what you think is the next best great idea, and to just drop the ego and look at what's going on out in the marketplace and evaluate what seems to be working and what's not. And you can load that stuff into GPT and do a web scrape and look for best practices. And ultimately what you want to try to do is like combine the best of what's working from all of your competition, and then layer in your own uniqueness on top of it to get your own product. But there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. I mean, everyone's trying to do someone out there is doing something, unless you're like inventing Uber or Facebook, like someone else is doing what you're doing. So go look at how they're doing it. And the people that are doing it successfully, take a page right out of that book and implement it for yourself. There's no harm in that, and make it yours.
100%. I love that. It's like, why you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just put a clock radio on the wheel,
That's right. Yeah.
That's awesome,
so that's
man.
been cool. And then the other thing on my rose is I'm now taking this, now that I know what we're doing, I'm building a price book for consulting services. I think one of the great challenges of a consulting company is scaling. And that goes to, I think, the creation of proposals can become a rabbit hole when you're trying to customize every proposal for every client. So standardizing your products and services is really key. But but in order to do that, you have to understand the resource requirements of your offers. So you have to know the people that are going to fill in the gaps to provide those services. So the price book that I'm putting together kind of standardizes, okay, this is the offer. These are the services that get provided in the back end. These are the people that are able and capable and have the skills to provide that service. And this is what that means from a compensation and time standpoint. And then you can come up with a pricing model, and then you can come up with a resourcing model on the back end.
Yeah. I love it, man. And it almost it sounds like it reads like a sushi menu. So you can kind of be like, well, here you go. Check the boxes on the ones that we really need to start with.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the idea, is that we can kind of have modular service offerings that we can kind of package up and bundle into something that we can present on the front end to a potential client. And then on the back end, we understand resource-wise, cost-wise, how we deploy and execute on that offer so that we're not getting too far ahead of ourselves with overcommitting.
Yeah. 100%, man. It's been super impressive to watch all this come together over the last couple of weeks. How does it feel?
Oh, thanks. Feels good, dude. I'm going to take it right into my thorn, because the price book component, it feels good, but the price book component also has been a bit of a thorn, and I'll tell you why. This is something that I've struggled with in the past. I'm probably like borderline struggling with it in the moment as I try to develop this price book concept, because sometimes I get a vision in my head and I jump on GPT and I start creating tables. And now essentially what I'm starting to have is like a database of job service codes. I have 3 engines, right? I have a revenue engine, an operations engine, and a reporting engine. And those ideas are strong. The idea that these are the 3 engines that we bring to be your full fractional growth partner. Those are the 3 things every business needs. They need more revenue and profit. They need to operationalize their growth, and then they need to monitor the metrics and the KPIs and the reporting to make sure it's all optimized, right? At the end of the day, like, those are the 3 things that's needed. We do all 3. So then the question is, well, how do I break that down? Like, what are the services that we provide? So then I've created a services table, right? And the services table line items out, like, what's inside the revenue engine, what's inside the operations engine, right? And then the question is, within each one of those line items, who are the people and skills needed to fill that line? For example, if it's analyze and update SOPs, well, I probably need a business analyst, and I probably need like an operations director to oversee and approve the business analyst work. And the business analyst probably needs 5 hours. The operations director probably needs 3 hours. And that's just one service inside of the operations engine, right? So building these tables and then lining them out to like the cost of the individual, and then rolling all of that into, okay, here's my full menu of operational services. Now I want to create low, medium, and high-end offers for clients between $5 million and $25 million, right? The first low-end offer should be maximum 2-month delivery. The second one should be up to 4 months. The third one could be up to 6 months, right? Help me package this up and present it in a way that's forward-facing. So like everything I just described to you is exactly what I'm working on. And like, it sounds great as I talk about it. But the reality is, when you go behind the scenes and you try to map this out using something like ChatGPT, if you're not careful, boy, oh boy, will GPT take you for a ride. And you can end up wasting weeks if you don't pull yourself out of getting so stuck on every little detail, right? Because it'll just keep riding you and riding you and riding you, because GPT wants to give you more information than you need. It's programmed to give you more information than you need. And it's really good at giving you new ideas. And the problem is, like, it can take you so far outside the realm of where you need to be to just move forward in the task that you can end up spending days or weeks chasing something down that's just not fruitful. And I'm on that line right now with building this model. And that's my thorn. I'm pulling myself out of it with this conversation. And I have a meeting with my team at 4:00 to talk about this concept. And I'm actually going to hand this project off to someone who does ERP implementation work, which is like perfect for this kind of project because it's database work, right? And that's going to get me back out of the weeds and back into my zone of excellence. I know you and I have talked about this in the past, but like, it's important that we live in our zone of excellence. And right now I'm straddling like being the CEO and now kind of being this like database guy, right? And I'm a little bit falling outside. So long story short, don't let GPT take you for a ride and stay within your zone of excellence.
Yeah, I love it. It's great, man. It's a heck of a thorn, but you got time to unravel that one.
I do, bro. But look, I got money on the table right now. Mom, you're gonna start seeing content in about a week and a half, and you're gonna see a website in about 2.5 weeks. So, clock is ticking, my friend.
Nice. I hear you. Cool. I'll dive in with my rose this week. Okay. Are you hearing me okay? I just want to make sure I'm getting some vibes in my on my Wi-Fi here.
I got you loud and clear, my friend.
Okay, cool. Cool. So my rose this week is working on a webinar series. And what I wanted to share is kind of my framework for creating a webinar series. Now, the first component is you don't call it a webinar because webinar feels a little bit dated. It feels like a little bit like arduous. It feels like you're going to to something and they're just going to pitch you. So what I'm calling it is the Scaling Founder Series. And what I want to do is create 6 different modules that I can rotate twice a year and do them once a month. Basically as kind of like a thought leadership piece, as kind of a personal branding component. And then of course, ultimately, we're out here fishing for clients. So I'm just going to go through like how I've been thinking about going about this. Now, I want to be in the channel of full value first. So I'm going to break down frameworks, tools, everything people need in this and use it kind of as a workshop and be brief. So basically providing the information up front, providing all the resources on the back end, and being able to cycle through it quickly. So a 20, maybe a 30-minute presentation altogether, start to beginning or start to end. So the way I'm going to start out with is kind of who I am and what I do for people. So assuming my network right now, and I think my following, if you go from socials and you go from emails and all that, is probably 30, 40,000. So a reminder of who I am will be important on the front end, but also really tempered to like, what can I do for you? Because ultimately nobody cares about me. They only care about themselves. So that's going to be the first couple of minutes. Hey, here's who I am. Here's what I can do for you. And then probably the next 5 minutes is outlining what I've been working on for the last year. These are where I can really illustrate the pain points. So for example, the first founder series, Scaling Founder Series workshop is going to be about personal branding for reluctant founders. And I'm going to start with this largely because this was me. We've talked about building our personal brand, and, I haven't really worked on that since I was a performing musician, which is a lot easier because you can create a persona. But rather now it's like, okay, I'm going to let people behind the curtain to who I really am, and I'm going to put that into the world. And it's very challenging because it's like an emotional roller coaster, and certain people are built for it, certain people are not. I'm reluctant. I am not necessarily built for it, but I see the value, so I do it. So I really want to like outline the work that I've done as far as personal branding and kind of the conflict I've had with it in a sense to connect with that audience. So that's the next five minutes. And then kind of getting into what I've discovered. This is kind of the next 5 minutes of like, what's the vehicle that has gotten me from a through the transformation of being reluctant to being like to actually moving into execution and being able to do that consistently. So that's the vehicle. And then the rest of the time, probably 10, 15 minutes is like, this is how you use this vehicle exactly. Here are the potential roadblocks. Here are the potential benefits. Here's how you execute. Boom, 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 boom. And then the outro being like, hey, here's what I can do for you with my company. Boom, basically my offer, which would be kind of a soft close. So that's going to be my framework working through these.
I love
I've
that.
done a bunch of workshops over the years, and I'm really going to kind of make a true series where it kind of builds off each other. The one thing, I have a question here for you that I've been going back and forth with is you can do replays real easy. We do this whole thing on Zoom. We record it. Like, hey, I'll send you the replay, or sign up, and if you don't show up, I'll send you the replay. What I've been experimenting with is really creative an exclusivity thing. Is there are no replays. If any discussion, any Q&A afterwards, it's totally private. We're not going to send it to anybody, and really kind of create a group that has to be there. Like create like a moment in time, as opposed to like a content piece. You got any thoughts on that, Katz?
Yeah, I like it, man. I mean, I think you try it and see how it goes, but I think I would defer to scarcity first
Yeah.
and then maybe open up later. But I think it's harder to go back than it is the other direction. So I'd rather be more scarce to begin with. It's also safer in the sense of it's less to do, and it protects you from overextending yourself, and then you can expand outward. So I'm
Yeah.
all for it.
Cool, man. I will do it that way, and see, because usually you get, you get probably a 20% show rate when you do these things. 100 people say that they're gonna show up, and 20 people actually do. So, in an effort to get people to like actually engage in the workshop, I think I'm gonna do that. Is say, you know what, this is a one-time shot. When I'm not gonna do it again for another 6 months. So here's your chance.
Cool. Love it.
Nice, man. All right,
Love it, man.
what else you got? You got a buffalo?
A chicken named Mike wants to live for 18 months after being accidentally beheaded, thanks to a nerve that allowed it to still function properly. I mean, I figured since we talked about an egg heist last week, that we could talk about a headless chicken this week, and then maybe we'll get out of the bird family into next week, and and move on to something new. But I thought that was pretty random and interesting.
Yeah. I mean, how smart is that nerve? It can still be a chicken? Like, what in the world?
I mean, what did it eat? 18 months? Like, how did it eat?
I know.
With
I
no
think I've
head.
heard about that. It just can't be. I don't even. It just boggles the mind. I don't get it.
Miracle Mike, the headless chicken.
Dude, I'll do
Fucking
my
weird, dude.
I'll do my thorn. I changed thorns. I'm gonna. My original thorn I felt was like a little bit of belly aching, and then I saw those videos of Detroit. Did you see this? Where the water main
The
broke on somebody's
frozen
street?
Detroit.
Yeah,
Briefly, they're like, dude, I hardly am looking at anything, but briefly,
bro. It was just like, dude, I have no problems. Like, if you go outside and the street is flooded and it's frozen and your car is embedded in like 4 feet of ice,
that's a problem.
that's a tough day. So,
Yeah.
I'll share something with you. As far as my thorn this week, I had a sales call that went awry, and I've done thousands of sales calls, and you and I share a thread, which we're martial artists, which probably means that we're pretty fiery people. You know what I mean? But I've always appreciated the strategy for Musashi that says, your heart should burn like 10,000 suns and your eyes should be cool as ice. It's the job of a salesman to like neutralize objections, particularly. So I had a deal that's going through, and they're like, hey, our legal counsel has a couple of questions. No problem. She says, hey, can you meet 9 a.m. Eastern? I'm like, yeah, okay. It's 7 o'clock. That's a little early for a sales call, but no problem. So get on the call. Hey, okay, what's going on? How can I help you? And so this was her ask. Her ask was, we want 2 months free. We want 10% off, and we want to be able at any point for any reason, if we deem necessary, to get a refund for the service.
Okay.
Dude, I felt like fire coming up the back of my neck and like all of my hair standing on end. Like I could feel that anger of like, dude, thousands of phone calls, and this actually objection feels disrespectful in a way, but
Totally.
then I catch myself. I'm like, Ryan, you're tripping, man. You're tripping. Just go through each of these, explain. So I did, and she's like, well, I still need to know an answer to this request. So if you want to ask somebody, I was like, well, I'm actually taking this sales call. I'm the co-founder of the company, and I can tell you that this is not going to work. And she was like really pressing me for it. And so I said, are you contract legal counsel? And she said, yeah. I was like, well, if I was to, employ your services, would you do 2 months for free for me, a 10% discount? And if for any reason I didn't like the outcomes, then I could get a refund? She's like, absolutely not. I was like, well, here we are,
What'd she say?
So we'll see if the deal's blown up. I went back to the team and was like, hey, these were the asks. I can't help you. Now, that sounds very rational. What I did is wrote the most explosive email. Like I got all my feelings out, and I was, this rant.
And deleted it all.
No, I just put it in GPT, and it's like, please translate into friendly, professional, concise language. Boom. And it gave me a perfect email, and I sent that off, and we'll see what happens. So, that was a little bit of my thorn. I think the only part about that, the outcome was fine, but just the the nerve, I guess, the chicken nerve energy that like incited in me. It's always
The headless chicken nerve. You had headless chicken nerve energy.
yeah, I sure did. I like the hate of that conversation could have let me live for 18 months without a head. I was so hot. So, it's a little disappointing sometimes to like be overcome by your animal instincts, but we'll see.
Don't beat yourself up. It sounds like you handled it pretty well.
Yeah. It was an outrageous ask though, but I mean, I get it. I get it. You know, we're out here looking for deals. I really held him to the fire when I was getting that Aria. I had to make sure my trade-in value came into the place that I wanted. So I understand looking for a
Attaboy.
deal.
You have to send me a picture of this thing.
Yeah, it's cool. All cars look the same now. That's kind of a disappointing thing, I think, ultimately. Every car is a 5-door, like a 4-door with a hatchback. Every single car is like
This is
exactly
what people want, man.
Yeah. It's like from a Porsche to a Toyota to a Nissan. It's like the same car,
Yeah,
but
it's what people want.
it's what people want. It's got the you wave your toe underneath the rear fender and the trunk pops up. So if you got got the groceries in the hands, it's pretty cool.
All right, bro. Recommendation. I got 2.
Let's go.
Go High Level is the CRM that I'm putting in place for right now. I mean, I probably would prefer HubSpot. I mean, I'm using Go High Level, and there's you can tell it's cheap. It does like very specific things well. Funnel, marketing automation, simple contact management. But when you want to get into advanced, really creative, more expensive marketing automation, it's not going to cut it. But for right now, it'll cut it just fine.
Great.
And I automated it with my Google Calendar so that whenever I have a meeting, it automatically pulls the contact in from the meeting if it's not already in the database, and then it automatically creates a task for me to follow up with that person from the meeting. So that's pretty cool. It's just a safe way to guarantee that I'm capturing people I'm having meetings with and setting some sort of a task to follow up on. The more exciting integration is that I integrated Firefly into Notion. And what it does is it takes any of my meeting summaries from Firefly and it automatically populates a database in Notion for meetings, and it logs the meeting date, who was on it, the name of the meeting, and I can just click in and sort it and pull up the executive summary of the meeting and do whatever I want. And I think that's really cool. And that was super simple. That was like one click. So like, I just love these integrations on these apps that are all over the place that are designed to optimize workflow.
Great.
All these little things, the way you set them up and use them really give you the opportunity to have a competitive advantage over the next guy. So, I bet on myself and my ability to integrate these things and use them the right way, in a way that's more efficient to make the business better. And I thought those 2 in particular, as someone who's starting to do contact management and meeting management, pretty cool.
Amazing. Why did you decide on that CRM over HubSpot? Just curious.
HubSpot gets really, really expensive.
Yeah.
Like HubSpot's like the Salesforce of CRMs. Like it's like infinitely customizable. It's very capable. But it can get very big very fast. And Go High Level is like very specific in what it does. Like they specialize in like funnel, lead capture, marketing, nurture, automation. And it's great for that use, and I'll use it for that, and, and it'll serve its purpose, but we'll grow out of it.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, let's keep it short and sweet, brother. Great to see you.
You too, my man. Looking good. And 1 week closer to Colorado, brother, man.
Let's go. I can't wait, dude. Is what you said when? April?
April 1 is when we move. It's going to be me, my wife, my baby, 2 cats, 2 in-laws, 1 dog, 6 suitcases, and like 6 carry-ons. It's going to be a shit show.
Well, I tell you what, if you need a hand moving, I will refer you to the person that bought my truck, and I'm sure they'll be able to help you move.
I appreciate that. Braces come off in a few weeks too. So I'm the world is my oyster right now, my friend.
Everything's coming up, cats.
That's right, buddy.
Cool. So let's talk about podcasts for a second. You're listening to one, which is awesome, by the way. Thank you so much. But have you ever thought about being a guest on a podcast? Like, seriously, imagine sharing your story and your expertise and your business all on shows where your ideal customers are already listening. Kitcaster connects founders and entrepreneurs, professionals, with podcasts that actually make sense for their brand. No pitching, no guessing. You just have great conversations on great shows. And the best part, Kitcaster handles everything. You just show up and bring your A game, Kitcaster does the rest. This is hands down one of the easiest ways to grow your personal brand and just create a wellspring of content for short video, for blog posts, for speaking engagements, for whatever. So if you've been thinking, yeah, I really need to step up my content game, go to kitcaster.com and apply today. Now back to the show.